Hello, and welcome back to English with Sarah and James, the podcast that helps you improve your English in a practical way. I am Sarah.
And I am James. It is great to be with you today. We have a really useful topic lined up, especially for any of you who are planning to travel internationally.
That is right. Today, we are tackling something that can feel a little intimidating the first time you do it, filling out immigration and customs forms. You know, those paper forms they sometimes hand out on the airplane just before you land.
Exactly. It is often the last thing you want to do after a long flight, but it is a necessary step. We're going to break down the common questions and vocabulary you'll see on these forms to help you feel confident and prepared.
We will make it simple and clear, so next time you travel, you will fill out that form like a pro. Let us get started.
So, Sarah, I know this is a common challenge for English learners. What is the first thing they should pay attention to on these forms?
Well, a student of mine was recently preparing for a trip, and the first thing we looked at was the personal details section. The language can be very formal. For instance, they ask for your surname and given names separately.
That is a classic point of confusion. Your surname is your family name, and your given names are your first and middle names. Another one that often trips students up is the question about your occupation.
Occupation. James, what exactly do you mean by occupation, for our listeners who might not know?
Good question. Occupation is simply a formal word for your job or profession. You just write student, engineer, doctor, or whatever your job is. You don't need to be too detailed.
That's a great tip. Then there is the travel information section. They will ask for your flight number and your port of entry. Port of entry sounds complicated, does it not?
It does, but it just means the airport or city where you first officially enter the country. It's your first stop where you have to show your passport to an officer.
Precisely. And they always ask for the purpose of your visit. It's important to be clear here. Are you there for tourism, business, or to study? Usually, a single word is enough.
Right. Then comes the part that can make people nervous, the customs declaration. This is where you have to list certain items you're bringing into the country.
Exactly. You have to declare things like large amounts of cash or specific food items. The word declare here means to formally state that you have these items. The pronunciation can be a little tricky. Declare. Notice the stresses on that second syllable.
And if you're not sure whether you should declare something, what's the best advice? I always tell my students it's better safe than sorry.
Oh, that is the perfect expression for this situation. It's always best to declare it. The worst that can happen is an official tells you it's fine. If you don't declare something you should have, you could get into trouble.
Absolutely. Being prepared makes the whole arrival process so much smoother. Having your passport, your travel details, and your address in the new country handy can save you a lot of stress.
That's the best advice. Preparation is key to a smooth and worry-free arrival. Now, I think it would be helpful to review some of this key vocabulary in more detail.
I agree. Let's move on to our vocabulary review.
We will start with that important word we mentioned, occupation. As we said, this is a formal word for your job or your profession.
That's right. On a form asking for your occupation, you simply write what you do for a living. For example, my occupation is teacher. If you're studying at a university, your occupation is student.
Perfect. The pronunciation is occupation. It has 4 syllables, and the main stress is on the third one, occupation. Try saying it slowly, occupation.
An example sentence could be, please state your name, address, and occupation on the form. As for synonyms, you could also say profession or job title, but on these official documents, occupation is the most common word you will see.
Definitely. The next one is port of entry. This sounds technical, but the meaning is really quite simple. James, remind us what it means.
Of course, the port of entry is the first official place you enter a country. If you travel by plane, it's the airport where you go through immigration. For example, if you fly from Germany to Canada, your port of entry might be Toronto Pearson Airport.
Exactly. It could also be a seaport if you arrive by ship or a land border crossing if you arrive by car. The pronunciation is quite clear. Port of entry. The main stress falls on port and the first syllable of entry.
An example sentence would be, the immigration officer at my port of entry asked for the purpose of my visit. It's a specific term for travel, but it's an essential one for understanding these forms.
Definitely. Now for our key verb, to declare. In a general sense, to declare means to announce something officially and formally. In the context of customs, it means you must tell the customs officers about specific goods you are bringing into the country.
That's right. The form might ask, do you have any goods to declare? If you have something to declare, like a very expensive gift you bought for your brother, you'd check yes and might say to the officer, I need to declare this watch I bought for my brother.
And the pronunciation, as we mentioned, has the stress on the second syllable, declare. It sounds like declare. A related phrase you'll often see is nothing to declare. This is the green channel, or lane, you can walk through at the airport if you don't have any items that need to be checked.
Finally, let's look at that great idiom I used, better safe than sorry. This is a fantastic expression that you can use in many different situations, not just travel.
It really is. The expression better safe than sorry means it's wiser to be careful and take precautions, even if they seem unnecessary, than to take a risk and have something bad happen.
Exactly. In our dialogue, we said it's better safe than sorry to declare an item if you're not sure. Another example could be, I'm going to take an umbrella even though it might not rain. Better safe than sorry. It's a very common piece of advice.
That's a perfect way to explain it. It's all about choosing the careful option to avoid potential problems.
And that's what our episode is all about today, helping our listeners avoid potential problems when they travel.
So, to wrap things up, filling out those forms doesn't have to be stressful. The key is to read each question carefully, have your passport and travel details ready, and understand the key vocabulary like occupation, port of entry, and what it means to declare something.
And remember our advice, when in doubt, it's always better safe than sorry. Don't be afraid to ask a flight attendant for help if you're on the plane, or an official at the airport. They're there to assist you.
Absolutely. We hope this episode has made the process much clearer for you. Thank you so much for listening to English with Sarah and James.
Keep practicing, stay curious, and we'll talk to you in the next episode. Happy travels and happy learning.